Room by room, I'm making over this house into my forever home. Next up is the entryway. The walls are white, the wood floor was scratched and damaged in some places, and the stairs, there are no words for those plastic treads and brown paint. After removing the metal stair nose molding, I pulled up the plastic treads. Yes, they were glued down, so I knew I wasn't going to be refinishing the steps. Tackling the wood flooring was another job that was harder than I thought. I removed the vent and the door molding. As I started to remove the wood flooring, I realized every single board had been nailed down in several places. I know many people will be horrified that I removed a solid wooden floor, but it was damaged in some places and really aged the house. I did take the undamaged pieces to my local Habitat Restore so somebody else could use it in their home. Back to the stairs, I realized the bottom 5 steps were oak, so I knew I had to do something. I couldn't cover them up. So I stripped off the brown paint 6 inches on each side of each step, and then I sanded. Next, I taped off each step and painted the risers black, but only 6 inches in, which saved a ton of time and paint. Then I used the same black cabinet paint to freshen up the banisters and newel posts. Yes, I used cabinet paint on the stairs for its durability. Next, it was time to stain the stairs in early American. So much better and really brings out the beautiful grain in the wood. On to the white walls. I wanted to add something to the walls, so I decided on a board and batten. After measuring and leveling everything off, I cut MDF with my trusty Craig jig. I nailed the vertical board onto the wall, and once I got going, it was off to the races. Don't I wish? Once the MDF was up, I painted the top third of the wall a soft green. Thankfully, I can paint at the speed of sound, so it didn't take that long. While the paint dried, I cut and added my horizontal boards and added trim underneath. Then I added a 1x2 to the top to form a ledge. That's a lot of adding, but wow, what a difference. I ran a bead of Titebond Pro Grade Plus caulk along all the seams. Here's a pro tip. Wet your finger to smooth out your caulk. For the board and batten, I chose to paint it a darker green. I believe it was called pea soup, and yes, it was exactly what it looked like. Yum. Well, we're in the home stretch now. I'm going to tile the floor, so I had to lay down a membrane first. Once I was down, I could begin tiling. I've always loved penny tile and thought it was so cool when stores would have their names spelled out in the tile, but I didn't want to spell out our name, so I chose the word welcome instead. This was a process figuring out where the pieces would fit, kind of like a puzzle. Once welcome was spelled out, it could go onto the floor. I will also admit, as I started to lay it down, I realized it was upside down, so I had to start again, but no problem. This was very, very time consuming, but just you wait. Tiles down, now it's time to grout. I also love black and white square tile. My husband helped me snap a chalk line to give me a straight edge down the middle of the hall. I mixed my thin set, then it was tile time. I applied thin set as I laid each tile. While this is a slower process, it ensures your thin set won't dry before you lay down your tile. I also used a long level to keep my tile edges straight. 24 hours later, the thin set was dry. I applied the grout using the plastic smoother, then pushed it between each tile using a tile float. I worked on a few rows, then stopped to wipe the tiles clean of the grout. Here's a pro tip. Use a smaller bucket and cut your big sponge in half. You don't need a lot of water in your bucket, but you will have to change your water often. You won't be able to perfectly clean the tile while the grout is wet, but make sure there are no lumps of grout on the tile. I had to install a transition strip from my tile to my LVF, and I chose one that matched the flooring. I just measured and cut it to length, then snapped it into place. Back to the stairs. I laid padding first, stapling it into place, and then a new carpet runner, which was really easy to install. Nailed it in easy peasy, and oh, what a difference. One more thing, a barn door. our laundry room between our garage and our entryway. The door swings out and was always blocking the entry, so I needed a solution. We had to have a door there, and a barn door wasn't that hard to install. I needed to put up a header board because the 1x2 that I put on the board in batten stuck away from the wall. I cut a 1x4 to fit the door track. The door I purchased was white, so I painted it pea soup using my Little Giant scaffolding and 2 Little Giant ladders. I didn't tape off the glass when I painted because scraping the paint off the glass with a razor blade is very satisfying to me. Once the paint was dry, I added the hanging brackets. My husband and I moved the door into place so I could ensure the metal door track was hung at the correct height. I attached the track, put the door onto the track, and voila, so much better. So what do you think of my entryway now? The plain white walls are gone, the damaged wood floor is gone, the word for the steps, oh wow, so beautiful. I keep my front door open all the time, so if somebody is walking by our house, they can see how cool it looks.
Here's how to update a boring entryway on a budget. First, run to your local hardware store and grab 2 beadboard panels. Then grab a nice baseboard. Now, when you get home, it's going to be hard to wait, but you need to wait 48 hours for the paneling to adjust to the humidity of your home. If you don't wait, you'll get lots of warping and shrinkage. Once the wait is over, you can go ahead and start brad nailing your paneling to the wall. Now measure the remaining space, transfer it to your second panel, and cut. Once you get that panel nice and secure, caulk the seams and edges. Now to finish off these nail holes. If you had some sticking out like I did, normally you want to use a nail punch for this, but I didn't have one, so I decided to use a screwdriver with my hammer, and it works just fine. Now it's time for that upside down baseboard. Pop it at the top of your paneling, making sure that it's very level, and nail it into place. Caulk any remaining seams, and get to painting. Do not cheap out on the brand of paint here, because this is going to be a very high traffic area. You're going to have keys and coats brushing up against it all the time. So I used Duration by Sherwin-Williams in the color Eventide. And you can use a little craft brush and wall paint to touch up. Now it's time to add the hooks. And now for some styling. I am so happy with how this turned out. It is exactly what I was hoping for, and it was so budget friendly. It was only a few cuts, so it was really easy to do. But I think this looks quite professional. I hope this gave you some ideas on what to do with your entryway.
Grab a couple of shutters and scrap wood for this clever entry hack. Using 2 two-sided shutters of the same size, I'm transferring their height to an old bulletin board. I'm scoring the board with an X-Acto blade until the cut section breaks off. Some burlap fabric is being positioned under the bulletin board, then roughly cut to size with a little overlap. The burlap is getting steam ironed on both sides to remove all the wrinkles. The bulletin board is being placed on top of the burlap, cork side down, then stapled together from the back. I'm pulling on the fabric as I work to ensure the front is nice and smooth. Starting with a vintage dresser, I'm positioning both shutters on top, opening them both up into an L shape. The bulletin board is being placed in between the shutters. I'm attaching the 2 together with screws from the back. After opening both shutter slats, I'm measuring the width of the combined shutters and the depth of one. Using a miter saw, I'm cutting 3 boards that will fit inside the slats to that measurement to create shelves. Some cup hooks are being attached to the front sides of both shutters. Using a small drill bit to start a hole makes installing the hooks much easier. I'm now gathering some office supply essentials in small quantities. I'm now loading up the shelves with the office supplies and decor, then using the hooks to hang office items on one side and keys on the other. And my new shutters entry organizer is now ready to help me organize before I head out the front door. The shutters make the perfect adjustable shelving unit without needing to attach anything to the wall, making this idea super rent-friendly too. And with all the handy hooks in place, reaching for a pen to write a note or grabbing the keys on the way out the door is effortless. I'm really enjoying my shutters organizer, which would also make a wonderful addition to an office or phone station or wherever you wish.